Hi everybody, I'm Steve Saunders. Welcome to another edition of Around Town, where we connect you, the viewer, to things going on in the town of Wethersfield. Tonight we have Jess Bergman and we have Aaron O'Neill here, and they're from Neighbor to Neighbor Energy Challenge, and they're here to talk about their program tonight. So thanks for coming out.
Thank you for having us.
Why don't you tell me about the program, because we've heard the term, I've heard the term around town a lot, neighbor to neighbor. What is that?
So Neighbor to Neighbor essentially is we actually won a grant from the U.S. Department of Energy. It's a coalition of nonprofit and state entities that have come together under a grant from the Better Buildings Department of the DOE, the U.S. DOE. And Wethersfield is one of 14 towns across the state to participate in the program. And the goal is to engage Wethersfield residents in existing state programs and to help them reduce their energy consumption by 20%.
Okay.
So that's kind of the goal overall.
Mm-hmm. Now, 20%, what does that look like? Does that mean flipping off a light, or?
So 20%, it might sound like a small number, but in reality it's actually a very big number, and it has to deal with upgrading your home. So in general, behavior changes like flipping off light switches, unplugging appliances, that'll save you about 3%, but really to get the 20% you have to do follow-on measures. So to get your house assessed, home energy solutions, which Aaron can talk to you a little bit more about that, but also taking the further step, insulating your home, getting HVAC, solar panels, those type of upgrade measures. And there's a lot of money available at the state level, but people aren't aware of the programs, and that's why we're here, is to educate residents about what's available. Got
it. And when you say challenge, Neighbor to Neighbor Energy Challenge, where does that challenge piece come into?
So there are 14 towns across the state. Wethersfield is one of the 14, and I can list them off for you. But essentially what happens is for every person in Wethersfield who's participating, the town earns points from the Department of Energy, which they can use to redeem for municipal electric vehicles, solar recharging stations, stuff like that. And so the 14 towns actually compete against each other. I think Wethersfield right now is in fourth place.
Fourth place, wow.
So you guys we're moving up on the list.
We have to kick it up a notch.
Definitely have to kick it up.
That's right. That's right.
And those numbers, we're looking for 1,000 households in Wethersfield, which will keep a little bit over $17 million in the Wethersfield economy, which is money that can be reinvested into the local businesses, but it also saves a lot of CO2, and it helps us reduce our global impact, like our
carbon footprint.
Carbon footprint,
Carbon footprint, right, the footprint. Yep, that's right, the famous footprint. At my condo, they were calling it an energy audit. Mm-hmm. Is that what, they hooked up this big fan and blew air through my whole condo? Yep. What is that exactly?
That's the Home Energy Solutions program, which is a CLMP program that we promote through Neighbor to Neighbor. And it's a 4-hour visit. 2 contractors come to your home. They'll set up that giant blower door fan, and that depressurizes your home and kind of aggravates any leaks and cracks where you're losing energy. So it forces outside air to rush in through those leaks and cracks, and they'll seal everything up on the spot. They'll caulk, weather strip, weatherize all over your house, top to bottom. They'll insulate some of your exposed hot water piping. They'll install up to 25 CFLs, and they do carry some specialty bulbs such as dimmable light fixtures, 3-ways, things like that. And let's see, what else do they do?
It also gives you access to rebates and financing.
Right.
So as I mentioned before, there is a lot of money that's available at the state level, but in order to get access to that financing, they want you to really be aware of what the issues are in your home. A lot of people think that windows are the big issue, but more often than not, it's not. It has the worst payback period. So we recommend people do insulation and other measures, which they'll identify for you on your visit.
Right, and so that's one of the great things about Home Energy Solutions is as they're going through your house, they'll take a look at your insulation and your heating and cooling systems, things like that, and they'll make recommendations for you at the end of the visit. So they'll sit down with you and say, you don't really need new windows, but you could maybe use a new hot water heater, something like that. And they'll give you a list prioritized based on your payback period. And then they'll give you information about tax incentives and rebates that are available.
They actually had a computer or some kind of formula where he calculated this is how much you're going to save per month, which was phenomenal.
Right.
It was really interesting to see him do that.
Yeah, and people usually save between $200 and $400 per year just from that 1 4-hour visit.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Now, what is the ultimate goal here as far as saving money? Is it so that you have more money available for, to jumpstart the economy? What's the overall goal for
I mean, I think something that's really important to remember is that 50% of the carbon emissions that come from a community is from the household level, so it's really important that residents are aware and fix their homes. And it's really easy to do, as we mentioned before. These are small steps that you can take, but the money, I mean, you can use it for other things, whatever it is, whether it's reinvesting it in the local economy or taking a vacation. I mean, who wants to waste money on energy, especially with oil prices as high as they are? And in Connecticut, the cost for oil or for fuel prices is the 4th highest in the country. So we pay an exorbitant amount to heat our homes. So why not reduce that? Especially if it's unnecessary, it has a financial benefit and also environmental benefit.
Right, phenomenal.
And in Wethersfield alone, when we reach our 1,000 household 20% reduction, we're estimating that about $17.5 million will be saved by all 1,000 of the. Not each one will save 17 million, but collectively.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, let's touch on that with the town of Wethersfield. What is your program look like here, maybe versus the other towns? I don't know if it looks any different for Wethersfield or.
I mean, yes. We're focusing a lot on our lighting program here in Wethersfield. It's a free program that we offer to residents that live within just the 14 communities that Neighbor to Neighbor works in. And so that's a 1-hour visit. 2 green lighting specialists go into the home, and we'll switch out up to 25 incandescent light bulbs for CFLs. And so that's something that we're really pushing in Wethersfield. We've seen a lot of success over the course of the last year and a half with that program. And that's a good way to kind of introduce people to the idea of home energy solutions as well. And some of the other communities that we're working in don't actually do lighting at all. Down in Fairfield County, they don't have the lighting program available to them.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is a free program, which is fantastic, and people who participate in this program traditionally see like $100 to $150 savings just from having someone come out, switch out the bulbs for free. So that's something that we heavily promote here. And then the next thing that we encourage people to do is to do home energy solutions. So that's the $75 copay. It's a CLMP and Efficiency Fund subsidized program, and we worked with Neighbor to Neighbor, as I mentioned. We're a coalition of nonprofits. We issued an RFQ to select vendors who are very high quality, and we actually track energy savings in Wethersfield for the Department of Energy. And there is an income eligible version of this program. So for the people to come out and do the work for 4 hours, they'll change out your low flow shower heads, give you water saving measures, do duct sealing. They do that program for free for people who are below 60% of the state median income. And they'll also give, they'll switch out appliances, like you could get a new refrigerator if your refrigerator is a certain age.
And you can also potentially get free insulation.
Yeah.
Wow. So how would someone get this started for themselves? Would they go to a website or?
Yeah, certainly. They can call our office, or they can go onto our website and sign up there, or there's actually applications available in the senior center as well.
Yeah, but our website is, for people who are at home, it's www.ctenergychallenge.com. And then if you go to the Take Action page, you can sign up there for lighting, you can sign up for home energy solutions, and you can also click the box that say that you think you might be income eligible, and then we'll give you the appropriate forms for that. And we should mention that actually through this program, $25 is actually donated back to a local community group. So right now we're working with the businesses. We're also working with realtors, condos associations to donate the money to the Wethersfield Food Bank. So for people who are signing up now, the money goes back for them. And for anyone who does an upgrade, so anyone who gets insulation, anything over $1,000, the DOE will actually donate $200 to the Wethersfield Food Bank. So we have $225 that can go back to the local community, but also you're improving the comfort of your home, saving yourself money. It's kind of a win-win situation.
Sure, yeah, and saving the environment too.
Exactly,
yeah,
which is the big one.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, I've heard of the workshops. Is that something different than the folks coming into your house and doing the energy audit?
Yes. Yeah. So the workshops are actually run by Neighbor to Neighbor staff. So myself or Erin, we also hired energy advisors who are a neutral third party. They've been in the business for a long time, and they can give you recommendations, but we host a series of them. So the first is kind of home energy basics, how energy is used in your home, and we encourage people to sign up for home energy solutions. For those people who maybe have had the assessment, they can bring their recommendations with them. We can sit down, do one-on-one consultations, and help move them forward. And we're really here to give them all the information, residents all the information they need to take those next steps and make it easy.
Phenomenal, phenomenal. What, so you right on Silas Dean, your office is right next to, we were saying Burger King and City Fish in that area.
Yeah, 860B.
Okay, yeah.
Highway.
What's it like working on Silas Dean? I mean, that's...
You know,
yeah.
I like it. It's nice. We've got a lot of businesses right in the area for us to connect with. It's kind of nice working in Wethersfield because people ask where you work and you go, oh, right over on Silas Dean. Everyone knows where the Burger King is. So we actually have a fair number of people just kind of stop into our office and say hey and kind of, check us out a little bit and see what we are.
Right, right. Because, like I said, you hear that term neighbor-to-neighbor energy challenge, and, sometimes you wonder, what does that mean?
Right.
Pitting neighbor against neighbor or what, but, that's really neat. So it's based on, so you said there's 14 towns involved, but is it also neighborhood to neighborhood, or is it basically just town to town?
It's town to town, but the idea is that neighbors share their stories, and it's supposed to be word of mouth. So it's a 3-year pilot program. We're actually in the 2nd year, and then the last year we actually leave it up to the town to move on these programs. So we're working with the town, we're working with schools, faith communities, community groups, the business community. The Chamber of Commerce is running a big campaign right now, seniors, and just kind of leaving all the information, and then when people have good experience, they tell their neighbors, and it goes from neighbor to neighbor and continues to be sustainable. So that's the idea.
Yeah, interesting. And what's the turnout been like so far? I mean,
well, in Wethersfield specifically, Aaron may be able to, I don't know if you're going to touch on that, but I mean, in terms of the outreach model, we're actually one of the top programs in the country. So the idea is that we're going to make the model that's going to be used nationwide, which is really exciting for us to think that our Connecticut model will be used in places like California, Colorado, New York. But I think, Aaron, did you want to talk about what's going on in Wethersfield specifically?
Yeah, sure. So we've got a couple things going on in Wethersfield currently. I know Jess was saying that we're kind of working with some of the businesses. We're trying to work with them to not only get word out about our program, but to kind of drive foot traffic into their storefronts as well. And so far we've had good turnout. We've partnered with the Chamber of Commerce, and they've put us in touch with several people.
Lost your mic. Happens all the time on Channel 14. There we go. Cable access at its best, right there.
So we've got that going on. We've had pretty good success with that so far. As I said, we're pushing the lighting pretty hard right at the moment. I know Jess was just in touch with a couple of condo associations that we're going to go in and hopefully change out a ton of light bulbs and help save those folks money. And then, I mean, in terms of how we're doing in comparison to all the other communities, as we mentioned earlier, we're currently in 4th place out of 14 communities. So
go Wethersfield.
Yes, exactly. Wethersfield has been really, really successful so far.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think we're actually about 1/3 of the way through our goal. So we definitely, even though we're in 4th, definitely encourage everyone to take advantage of the program now because it benefits the community. You get the money back to the Wethersfield Food Bank, and also we're here as added resources, and we won't be here for much longer. So.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
Only until September.
Only until September. Okay. Then where do you go after that? Or
don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see.
Somewhere.
But I mean,
stick around.
Yeah, the Neighbors to Neighbor Challenge ends in 2013, but with reduced staff, and the idea is to transition it to the town, to neighbors telling their neighbors, to make it a sustainable model.
Now, you said it's word of mouth more so, but is there any social media or any Facebook,
yes,
Twitter?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Friend us on Facebook.
You should definitely friend us on Facebook. It's Wethersfield
Neighbor to Neighbor Energy Challenge. Yeah.
But it also has the Green Summit Committee logo because we work very closely with the Green Summit as well as the task force out here.
And we've also got a Twitter account as well. That's N2 as the number 2, N2NCT.
Okay, so at N2NCT.
Yep.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah, so we do use traditional marketing and community outreach along with word of mouth to get the message out to people.
What's your traffic like on Facebook? I'm curious because you see some. We have trouble with that here at Channel 14. We try to get people to like our page, and we're working on it. But
I think we have pretty good traffic.
And it varies from town to town. But Wethersfield has a pretty solid following on our Facebook page, which is great. I know a lot of our coalition partners have done a lot to kind of help drive some of their membership to our Facebook page.
I also should mention we have a great newsletter to educate people, so whenever legislation changes or there are new rebates put in, those people get the information first. So if you're interested in this stuff, definitely recommend you sign up for our newsletter, and you can do that online as well.
Yeah, those rebates are gold. They're really,
they really
good.
are.
Yeah,
I mean,
it benefited me a lot.
Yeah.
So very cool. So, and I was just reading some of the statistics. I won't ask you what percentage of whatever computer takes up energy, but I remember it was 9%. I don't know why I remember that. Into computers, but it shocks me because you don't think necessarily about if I plug this in, what amount of energy does this take part of my bill? Is that the kind of questions that you guys get a lot? Like, if I plug this in, computer 9%, I never even thought of my computer as almost taking up energy. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think phantom load is a big thing, something that people aren't aware of. It can save you a lot of money. We recommend that people plug into a power strip, and they have smart power strips now too, so they can sense when your appliance is being used, and when it's not, they can shut it off. But as we mentioned earlier, those behavior changes, they will definitely save you money, but it is a small percentage. It's about 3 to 3.5% of energy savings.
Definitely there are other steps you can take that are a lot more efficient. Lighting alone is 11% in general. So, that's a pretty big chunk. And then largely everything else is your appliances, your, hot water cooler, how good your house is insulated.
And another thing too is just getting rid of that second fridge. That's something that we talk to people a lot, that if you have it in the basement, unplug it because it really does suck a lot of energy and money.
You know what, we have a dehumidifier in our basement, which took a lot of energy, we realized. And we didn't realize that we were running it for a full year, so it's interesting, the small things that you really don't think about, the second fridge. Or
I also think at the Wethersfield Library you can actually get a kilowatt, right?
Yeah, you can.
Reads how much your appliances are using, how much energy.
Right. So you can check one out if you go to the Wethersfield Library. It's a little guy that you plug into your outlet, and then you plug whatever device into the kilowatt, and it actually has a little video readout that tells you how much electricity is being consumed every time you use that appliance.
Sure. Now, I always find it interesting that the money that comes in for these programs, how does that allocated based on, you have the energy, I keep calling it the energy audit, probably should call it what you were calling it. What was that again?
It's called Home Energy Solutions, so it's an energy assessment. It's not an audit. They're not going to just tell you what's wrong with your home, but really assess it as a whole unit, give you recommendations to move forward, and help you address some of those problems on the spot.
Yeah, I remember the person that came over, he was up and down ladders and all over the place. He changed out every single light bulb in with which took a couple hours, really, it was all over. But, whoop, lost my page. But, I'm curious, with the money that comes in, is there a particular area that, neighbor-to-neighbor lighting that the money goes to more so than the others, or how does that work?
That's a great question. There are 14 communities across the state. I didn't list them for you before, but I probably should. They're Bethany, I don't know if you're going to list them out, but Bethany, Cheshire, East Haddam, East Hampton, Glastonbury, Wethersfield, Wilton, Westport, Weston, Ridgefield, Mansfield, Lebanon, Portland, and Windham.
Wow. Congratulations.
I got it. Thank you.
I wasn't going to ask you because I didn't want you to feel bad if you didn't get it.
No, I got it. But so there are 14 towns, and all the towns are very different demographics. The idea is to build a sustainable model. I will say that I think the bulk of the money goes to marketing and also to staff, for us to help people, to talk to people in the field. I did mention earlier we hired 2 energy consultants or energy advisors who are there to watch the contractors to make sure that we're doing quality work in the field. I know in the past not all energy assessments have been the same quality, and the idea is to raise the bar in the state of Connecticut So we're working on that and tracking the energy savings, making sure that the recommendations that are given to people are understandable, but also just putting out materials because people have not been taking advantage of these programs. So I would say that's where the bulk of the money really goes.
Right, and we have some materials out there. So if you want to stop into Channel 14, we have some here definitely. But yeah, it's great to have you on the program for sure because it's neat to be able to have the opportunity to save money, give back to the environment, as a whole. So really, really cool. As far as your roles, what would you say on a daily basis when you go out and go to work? What does that look like for you?
Goodness.
It changes so much from day to day.
Yeah, no, it does change. I mean, I think, we're, as I mentioned before, we're in 14 communities across the state, so we're dealing with the media all the time. We're working with local community groups, so I could be on public access in the morning, then go to Chamber of Commerce breakfast, then go talk to the kids, meet with someone from a church. Erin, helps with the lighting program, so she might go on a lighting visit. We might be writing press releases, setting up workshops, conferences. So we just do a lot of on-the-ground outreach. We're on our phones all the time, and we're very committed to this program, so we put in a lot of hours.
Phenomenal. Yep, very good. Well, thank you so much for coming on Around Town.
Thank you.
Yeah, you should come back. Mics always fall off. I'm surprised mine stayed on this time. So I'm Steve Saunders. Thanks so much for joining us. Check us out on our website right here on Channel 14. That's WCTV14.com. Have a great week.